curl has been around for a very long time and is very much a foundational tool on Linux, but you'd be surprised, it's actually heavily used on Windows as well, and shows up in tons of other random places, and very soon is turning 10,000 days old. As of August 5th, 2025, 10,000 days since March 20th, 1998. Now, that's not what I'm here to talk about, but there's no other good place to mention it. What I want to talk about instead is Daniel Stenberg, the creator and core maintainer of curl, has been sounding the alarm about AI security reports for quite a long time now. And I've covered this on occasion, but I don't think people realize just how bad this problem has become. Curl has a bug bounty, and anybody that has a bug bounty is gonna be dealing with the exact same problem. Notably, we have these recent issues, which are utter garbage. Now, maybe this is written by a person, maybe it's AI generated, it feels AI generated, it looks AI generated, it's garbage, let's just have a look. Uncontrolled file write / arbitrary file creation. So, basically what's being said here is there are no controls to stop you writing output to a file. This is not a bug, this is not a security issue, this is basic behavior in curl. You can save the output to a file, and if you accidentally choose a file that already exists, you'll overwrite the file. That's how every single application that writes files works. But don't worry, it gets even better. From the exact same user, try Hack Planet, disk space exhaustion leading to a denial of service, DOS. So, basically what's happening here is if you enable the debug log option and you run curl too much, you download too many things, and you make the log so big that it fills up your drive, it stops working. Yes, if you run the thing that saves data, and you save so much data you fill the drive, saving data stops working. Again, not a bug, not a security issue. That's how saving data works. And they all have the same sort of vibe, right? It's like, oh, here's a big code block, which probably maybe does something. In this case, yeah, it actually does seem to do the thing it does, only because it's literally the thing the application does. You have your bullet points or your numbered lists. Of course you do, because they always have them. And then some arbitrary how to fix, and somewhere in here it's going to say why this is a problem, why, yeah, here we go, here's the impact. It's a critical high blah 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 nonsense. It's literally just saving data. It's not a vulnerability at all. And one thing I really love about curl is when there is something like this, when there is something that is obvious, utter garbage, curl has a policy to publish the security reports. When there's a real problem, they stay private and they deal with the problem. But when it's garbage like this, they're gonna publish it. They're gonna make it very clear which user went and did this. And even though there is a system to punish people for doing so, it doesn't matter if it's a burner account. And that's what people do. And not just on these posts, but Daniel released a recent blog post on the whole situation of dealing with just utter garbage security reports. Death by 1,000 slops. I don't know what this bug is. Any bug experts tell me what this is. Also, as I said, this is not the first time Daniel has talked about this, and I have made prior videos on the topic as well. This trend does not seem to slow down. On the contrary, it seems that we have recently not only received more AI slop, but also human slop. So it's really hard to tell the difference between AI slop and then a fake human report that is basically just modified AI slop. It removes some of the tells, adds in some weird human-y words that AI is not going to use, At the end of the day, the end result is the same. You have a security report that is literally useless and you don't want to see it. The latter differs only in the way that we cannot immediately tell that an AI made it. Even though we many times still suspect it, the net effect is the same. The general trend so far in 2025 has been way more AI slop than ever before. About 20% of all submissions. Now, this is not like commits to the repo or something like that. This is security reports. These are people that think these tools can find vulnerabilities for them. They don't check for them in many cases, and basically just produce more and more noise. It's kind of like the problem you have with job applications, right? Where a lot of companies, they're using AI to sift through job applications because users are creating their resume using AI. And then you're seeing AI interviews, and there's just so much going on that all this just noise being made that everyone in the chain is trying to filter out the noise. It's just a giant mess. Before, we averaged in about 2 security report submissions per week. In early July, about 5% of the submissions in 2025 had turned out to be genuine 5% were genuine vulnerabilities. That doesn't mean that 95% are AI generated, but only 5% are actually real problems. The valid rate has decreased significantly compared to previous years. Now, as I mentioned before, bug bounty. This is the reason it is so high. Everybody is seeing AI commits. Everybody is seeing AI security reports. However, when you have money involved, now that is a reason to generate nonsense. I have previously considered it a success based on the amount of genuine and real security report problems we have gotten reported and thus fixed through this program. 81 of them to be exact, with over 90,000 USD paid in awards. Obviously, there were always going to be people that try to abuse a bug bounty, but when you have to write everything by hand, that is a lot more work than just saying, find me a vulnerability in curl and write it up like a security report. That takes no effort at all. At least before, if you wanted to scam people, you had to try a little. Think about it like this, right? Let's say you're someone in a country where $200. Let's say $200, that makes your entire quarter vastly better. That's a lot of money for you, and you're gonna do everything in your power to get that money. Honestly, I don't fault anyone for trying to do that. I don't fault people who are in desperate situations trying to get money any way they can. What I do fault are the platforms like HackerOne that allow this to happen. What I do fault is these tools existing and being a way to easily generate absolute garbage. So Daniel went and sent this email to the HackerOne CTO. Hi again, the level of input crap keeps increasing, both with and without the use of AI. We are now discussing completely dropping our bug bounty as a means to perhaps slow down the flood. We could really use some better tools from HackerOne to make it harder for slop to get filed. You know what I will say? At the very least, HackerOne right now, today, please don't prove me wrong soon, is not acting like GitHub and is not integrating these tools directly into the platform. It could be worse, right? It could be, hey, this is the officially endorsed GitHub, the officially endorsed Microsoft tool for generating garbage. This is the officially endorsed HackerOne tool for generating garbage. At the very least, right now, we're not dealing with that. Right now, let's see if that changes. I want us to use the rest of 2025 to evaluate and think. The curl bug bounty program continues to run and we deal with everything as before while we ponder about what we can and should do to improve the situation for the sanity of the curl security team members. We need to reduce the amount of sand in the machine. We must do something to drastically reduce the temptation for users to submit low quality reports, be it with or without AI. Now you might say, oh, why is it that big of a deal if you get a bunch of fake reports? If you know it's a fake report, just get rid of the report. That's the problem. That is the problem right there. These ones are worst case scenarios. These ones are obvious, stupid report. These are ones we can look at and say, okay, you're an idiot. What are you doing here? Go away. There are a lot of them which have gotten very subtle. They are convincing, but fake. That's something these tools are really good at doing. Giving you something which looks pretty good, that if you're not a very technical person, there's no issue with it whatsoever. But you test what is being said, and it's nonsense. And here's the problem. Every report engages 3 to 4 persons, perhaps for 30 minutes, sometimes up to an hour or 3 each, right? So let's just say best case scenario, okay? Let's say 3 people at 30 minutes each. Per report, 90 minutes wasted. Then we have 8 times last week alone. That is 720 collective minutes, or 12 hours of wasted time. And if you're full-time on a project, yeah, that's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Daniel's not the only person working on the project, though. A lot of people are, small-time contributors, working here and there, doing some stuff, doing really good work, but they've got an actual job. They've got, something where they have to spend their time, and maybe they can spend, 3 hours a week, hour or so a day, and that's all they can do. And then they have to deal with utter garbage when they could be working on real problems. So as I said before, HackerOne has this reputation system. It's basically Reddit karma. And this does affect people to some extent who have an active account. The problem is a lot of these reports aren't coming from active accounts. They're coming from people who've maybe made 1 or 2 other reports, maybe 1 report every year or so. A lot of them are actually just burner accounts where they hope and pray that somebody is stupid enough to accept it as a real report and pay them money. And banning those people, they're on a burner account anyway. Why would they care? They'll just make another burner. HackerOne. It's not super obvious to me exactly how HackerOne should change to help combat this. It is, however, clear that we need them to do something. Offer us more tools and knobs to tweak to save us from drowning if we're to keep the program with them. Honestly, at this point, again, going back to the whole job application thing, I don't think anybody would complain with an AI tool to filter out the AI reports. Honestly, just some way to flag them. So it's something where, you look at it and you're like, okay, it's flagged, give it a quick read, take 5 minutes on it. Does it look like AI? Yes, get rid of it. That would save quite a lot of time. And these AI tools are generally okay at tagging things that are AI. The problem they have is false positives. False positives aren't that big of a deal because at the end of the day, right now, what they're doing is spending a lot of time reading reports. If you have a false positive, you can then check it over and basically you've not wasted any time, but it will save you some time for the ones that are obviously stupid. Now, as for routes forward, people mention charging a fee for the right to submit a security vulnerability that could then be paid back if it is a proper report. So basically, it is like a deposit. So if it's a fake report and isn't real, they take the money. If it is a report and it is real, then you get the money back, right? This is common for checking if you have a valid credit card, things like that. Yes, that would probably work, but at the same time, it's not perfect. It's a really hostile way for an open source project to work. There are a lot of people out there who are young, who might have a legitimate security report, who don't have a way to give you money, right? They don't have any sort of bank account yet or anything like that, but they do have something that is real. Also, you need infrastructure to handle this, right? If you charge a fee and it's a deposit that you return, well, you need to have some way to hold that money and then return it back to them. That's not something that just magically happens, right? And whether it's a fee or a deposit, either way, you now have to handle money, and Curl doesn't have the infrastructure, and right now HackerOne doesn't. Maybe HackerOne could introduce something like that. But it's a problem that is going to cause more problems itself, right? This is not something which just perfectly solves it and nothing else bad happens. Dropping the monetary reward part would make it much less interesting for the general populace to do random AI queries in desperate attempts to report something that could generate income. It, of course, also removes the traction for some professional and highly skilled researchers, but maybe that is a hit we can and must take. So there are legitimate security researchers where this is the way they make a lot of their income, and if you don't have a bug bounty, well, they're not going to come to your project because they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They have bills to pay as well. And then for those who are, you know, more grey in the hat, some of those people are going to be willing to sell those vulnerabilities and make quite a bit of money to people who are far more malicious. And I do agree with Daniel here that not every single person here is trying to waste people's time, is trying to be malicious. A lot of these reporters seem to genuinely think they help out, apparently blatantly tricked by the marketing of the AI hype machines. It is not certain that removing the money from the table is going to completely stop the flood. There are people who use these tools who think they're helping out, and they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they think they've found a vulnerability. And you might say they're naive, they're dumb, but they are operating in good faith, right? Like, they're trying to do something good. They've just been tricked. And those people, it's unclear what percentage there is, right? Like, what percentage of people are just good-natured who've been tricked, and what percentage are trying to get money as easily as possible? I don't know. And I don't think anybody really knows. Now, this right here is a collection, a sampling of the AI slop report. This is not all of them. This is not all of them. The ones I talked about earlier in the video, they're not on this list at all. Now, this one right here is a really good one. Possible UAF. So, the reason why I wanted to mention this one is this person clearly didn't want it published. They're like, please no, I'm not comfortable with you disclosing the report. I'd prefer if you kept it private. That's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. If you make a report that is garbage, that is useless, that is nonsense, that's admitted to using AI literally in the post, hey, they're gonna publish it. Yes, you're a beginner, and that's totally understandable, but you're not gonna learn anything about this space by outsourcing your thinking to a computer. Also, I've said it a couple of times, and I want to be very clear, this is not just a problem in curl. Here is a post from Greg Kroll-Hartman of the Linux kernel. Days since an AI found security bug turned out to be totally false due to the inability of the tool to actually parse C code. 0. I'm seeing multiple of these types of reports per week now for Linux. Why do people think an LLM can somehow do better than a compiler and also not even test their proposed changes to verify they do anything? Now, there are actually people, I think there's like one person on the kernel security team who does use an LLM to attempt to verify security vulnerabilities, but they sort of have like a council where different people are going to try different methods to test if the vulnerability is a real thing. So it's not just that one person, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with, as part of the tool chain you have, using it as one of the things you use. But it shouldn't be the only thing you use. And again, you shouldn't be outsourcing your thinking to a machine and then not verifying anything it spits out. But what do you think? Do you actually make use of any of these tools? Is it part of your tool chain? Do you outsource your thinking? Are you one of those people who, under a tweet which is like 10 words long, you say, Grok, summarize this? I'd love to know. If you liked the video, go like the video. If you really liked the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon, subscribe to Liberapay, linked in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and what if I'm AI generated?